It's 4th July, 6 o'clock. So I'm looking at the rice field here at the high school or cemetery. The quality of dirt here is not good. The growth of the rice really isn't uh, what it should be. Not according to my expectation in a way. To some, maybe it's okay. To me, otherwise, it's there's something about dirt that needs to be improved. I needed or wanted to spread chicken manure, but however, so I hate that word, but however, that didn't happen. So I have to manage that next go around. Really need dirt improvement. In fact, quite frankly, this is better than the last time. It tells me though that either we have to plant closer or increase the tillers. It's not as dense. It's because if the dirt, you can add fertilizer, but there's a limit to what you can add. It'll just become a poison. So it's all boiled down to dirt ultimately. So need to increase tellers and make them closer together. That's for next go round. I'm here by the swampland, Basao meanings. Basao, the word Basao is a place where water collects, basically a swamp. So in the days of my youth, I used to come here swimming in the swampy water. So here the rice are in the panicle development stage, flowering stage. So in theory, we would be harvesting first week August. In theory. So that's this being 4th July. These are diamond X or diamond 10. So we increase the tellers based from lessons learned. It's silly to think that if you plant one teller and you expect 30. That's a myth. Honestly, plant 15. At minimum, you get 15. From 15, it increased dollars. You one get, caught up in reading books and say, oh yeah, I'll do it according to books. I should have known better. How much or how many crop cycle one has to learn. But then, quite frankly, having wisdom, it takes years. Now, henceforth, it's I can't uh, I can't begin to think that planting $1 would do me good. So I think planting lots of tellers would do better instead of $1, one or two or three. That's my lessons learned. People have their own lessons learned, and they say, "Oh yeah, $1 is good enough for me." That's good. Quite frankly, $1 is bordering on foolishness. Here, this area is called the Mormon area. It's because this is in front of the Mormon. So that's how we define names of area. It's basically the closest point of reference that everybody knows. This go around, the rice is actually much better than from last crops. Last crops, really there's things that were lacking, activities were lacking, and this go round the activities are much better. Rice act like babies. They need to be babied, fed, and then de-infested with herbicide, fungicide, and a lot of things, and then given food, fertilizer, and things. So that's the nature of rice. One must learn. And of course, increase the amount of tallers you plant. Last go around, 2 or 3 tallers were planted. This go around, it was a bunch. So much better. This part of the land is called Laod, or West. We call it Laod in reference to point A. Point A being the house. So all of the land is reference to the cardinals. So Laod, West, Amyanan, North. And then of course there's in reference to known places like cemetery, church. And then the one by the Muñoz, we just call it Muñoz. So, but typically it's the cardinals. So when we look at tellers, this rice is actually pregnant. Ilocano agbugbugi. Boogie, you know the word boogie? Well, to dance. However, here it's called boogie, pregnant rice. So when you have lots, you planted a lot of tellers, you multiply that tellers by some amount. So when we're done harvesting, I'm going to pull off from the roots these to actually count the tellers. So in theory, we planted 15, at minimum 15 tellers. Some tellers may not survive, a lot do, and so I'm gonna pull them off and see how many survive. And from that, in the future, I'm actually going to analyze the production of panicles. Right now, I'm not there yet, but I will, because I need to understand tellers, the panicle production, and then weigh the product. And in the future, I'm going to guesstimate the amount of bunch transplanted and do a basic calculation. But that's over the years gathering data. So I would then in the future, once I've gathered enough data, I would then be able to guesstimate the potential yield that we will have in the future rice transplanting. So now that I understand that one has to, for me, other people's experience varies. My experience then is at bare minimum transplant 15, whether it's inbred or hybrid. Hybrid, I was told it would multiply quite a bit. That's a myth. it doesn't multiply quite a bit. So that's my experience. Again, people experience varies. So when we look at panicles or tellers, I mean, look at the bunch. If I planted one tellers, I haven't seen this kind of production of tellers. Like, that's really, really quite a bit of tellers. So the more tellers, the more panicles develop, the greater the yield. One teller, I mean, just like that placed over there, broadcasted. One seed, one teller, bare minimum, or zero teller, maximum 5. So I am going to look for places where they broadcasted. I want to do more data gathering there. So that's just for reference. This area is by the cell tower. They spread the seeds 29 June. And if a person is or a farmer is doing broadcasting, this would be the method of broadcasting. So there's a lot of dead seeds. If you were broadcasting, it would be zero teller, those dead seeds. And then you would have single tellers, those ones, green looking plant thing. So there's a loss of rice seeds. It's not going to be 100% rice developing into tellers. So that's the nature of things. Now over time, for example, again, if it's broadcasting and it's single teller, from what I see, maximum single seed will come up maximum 5. In the future, I am going to take a sample of an area and then do data. How many are single tellers? 2, 3, 4, 5 tellers, or 6 per unit area. And then also from that unit area, from those tellers developing into manufacturing rice panicles, I would then count the seeds and then weigh them. Again, then proportionate that area, unit area, into the greater area of say 4.2. That's the data I am going to extract from watching these things transpiring. Now they've rotated this about the same week as June 29th. So the hay will take a while to rot. What tends to happen if they don't rot properly, the outgassing and the heat generated by that chemical process would heat up the land. And the rice being transplanted hated hot land. They really hate it. It's just too hot to grow. So we'll see how this transpired, whether it will meet their requirement. They will probably plant with the organic still hot. I'll observe the happening on this part of the rice field. It's curious. I'm curious. This area is called Muñoz or Muñoz East. This is where we were counting the amount of tellers being transplanted. I think this area. or it could be that one by the rock. So let's just go over by the rock or cement. This used to be a pump here, and we needed the pipe, so we pulled it off. It's 4-inch pipes or 3-inch pipe. They're expensive, so you don't leave them stuck in the ground. However, they covered the hole. I think this is the one. Anyway, so we planted 15 tellers. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What the heck? I'm just gonna pull a bunch. It's kind of hard to count in C2. I mean, it doesn't impact the count, so I'm just gonna pull it off. So I pulled off 2, and we're gonna count the tellers and see what the count is. So from the first bunch I pulled, I separated them. So 15 tellers planted, resulting in a count of 26. Quite frankly, close to 30. Now, some of the tellers are small. So really, when I need to count tellers, it would be after it's harvested. Then I know it developed into panicles. Right now, I'm figuring 26. What's the actual output? So it's close to 30 that I'm targeting. Could be more though. Wish it was 40. So I'm going to count that one too. From the last bunch, I counted 30 tellers. Now, I might have been more biased just because I want to be biased. The ultimate result will be after the harvest, and I actually will have see the leftover, and I can count the actual tellers that produce the panicles. So I think I'm biased, and that's all right. I mean, being biased means there's hope or need to have a good harvest based on the new normal that I'm in placing. What is the new normal? Don't transplant 2-3 tellers. The new normal should be a lot more tellers, like 15 tellers or more. And then get a lot more yield. More tellers, more yield. 1 teller, well, you get the yield, but not the quantity one is looking for and hoping for. So